too, to be on the safe side. Then Herman started making funny noises for Ofri and tickled her stomach with the tip of his tie. Ofri smiled at him. Smiles at that age are instinctive, not genuine, you know. But still I said to Ayelet, "Look at how she's smiling at him." And Ruth said, "Children are crazy about Herman." Ofri wouldn't go to just anyone when she was a baby. She even cried when her grandmother held her. But the minute we put her in Ruth's arms, she snuggled up to her, put her head on her breast, and played with her long hair with her fingers. Ruth said, "Shah, shah, shah," and stroked her cheek. Ayelet bent down to Ruth's height and said to Ofri, "We'll be back in a few minutes, okay, sweetie?" Ofri looked at her with that clever expression of hers, then moved her eyes to me. It looked like she was about to cry, but no. She only burrowed deeper into Ruth's chest, and Ruth said, "Please, if you would be so kind, do not worry. I raised 3 children and 5 grandchildren." Ayelet said again that it would only be a few minutes, then stroked Ofri's cheek one last time. As soon as our door slammed shut behind us, I grabbed her ass, but she froze and said, "Wait a minute. Do you hear crying?" We stopped and listened, but all we heard were the normal sounds of the widow in the apartment above us dragging furniture. We waited another few seconds just to be sure, and in the end Ayelet took my hand and said, "Please, if you would be so kind, no foreplay, yes?" and pulled me into the bedroom. Herman and Ruth's grandchildren are scattered all over the world. 2 in Vienna, 2 in Palo Alto, and the oldest, who lives with her mother in Paris, comes to visit every summer and drives the teenage boys in the neighborhood crazy with her miniskirts, her tanned skin, and green eyes. They wait for her outside the building like cats in heat, and she toys with them, touches them offhandedly when she talks but doesn't let them touch her. A regular little mademoiselle, already in high heels, wearing women's perfume. Last summer Ruth sent her to ask us for eggs, and I answered the door without my shirt, so she said, in a French accent, "Monsieur Arnon, put on a shirt. It is not very genteel to be like this in front of a lady." And she gave a flirtatious giggle. I brought her the eggs without laughing in return, thinking that you could tell the little minx didn't have a father, that if I were her father, I'd make her take off that mini. But never mind, we'll get to that later. Herman and Ruth's other grandchildren also came to visit once or twice a year, and then their apartment, which is usually quiet except for the sounds of the piano and the voices in the German-language cable channel, suddenly became noisy and full of life. Herman builds the children slides and swings in the garden. Before he retired, he worked for the Israel aircraft industry, so he has the touch for things like that. He also makes them model airplanes they can fly with a remote control. If it's summer, he takes a pool out of the storeroom, a huge one, made of hard plastic, and he builds an aircraft carrier in the pool that they have to try and land the model planes on. Then he takes the carrier out of the pool, and they change into bathing suits and climb inside, splashing each other. But they're not wild. They're well-behaved kids, not like the ones we have here. They eat with a knife and fork, say hello to you on the stairs. When their grandchildren fly back to their countries, Herman and Ruth are depressed. It's a regular routine. The day after the flight, their door is locked, and you know not to knock. There's no way to explain it, as if there's a heaviness in the door that transmits the message, "Not now." 2 days after the grandkids leave, they themselves knock on our door to say that if we want, we can bring them Ofri. Herman says to her, "Give Herman a kiss," and bends down so she can reach his cheek. She kisses him carefully so as not to be scratched by his bristles. Ruth says to Ayelet, "If you need to, you can leave her for a short time, too, no charge." She adds, almost in a whisper, "It's so hard for Herman when the grandchildren leave us. He hasn't slept for 2 days, hasn't eaten, hasn't shaved. I don't know what to do with him." That business with the kiss, for instance, when I told you before that there were signs, I meant things like that. It started with asking Ofri for a kiss when she came in, 1 on each cheek. But this last year, he could suddenly open the door for no reason when we were on the stairs, on the way in or out, bend down, and call to her, "Hey, Ofri, give Herman a kiss." Telling you this now makes me want to die. Was the writing on the wall ever clearer? But we didn't want to see it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Ayelet's